You're listening to the Behind Ears podcast, because everybody does Disney differently. The Behind Ears podcast crew would like to thank the following sponsors for their generous support. Hey everybody, it's Mr. Chris, and I got to tell you about Expedition Roasters. Listen, I'm a pretty big coffee drinker, just like a lot of you are, but these people have got coffee right. Their coffees are made from selectively sourced premium and specialty grade Arabica beans. They provide the absolute best flavor and aroma, and select roast even come directly from a single estate farm for a truly perfect cup that is never bitter. They've got awesome Disney-inspired flavors such as Roundhouse Roast, Route 66, Skipper's Brew, Dark Side Roast, Redhead Rum, and one of my favorites, Bobsledder's Brew. Listen, if you want to have the taste of Disney in every cup, give them a try today. ExpeditionRoasters.com, and Behind the Ears podcast listeners gets an extra 20% off your first order by using the coupon code EARS20. That's right, EARS20. And you can find them over at ExpeditionRoasters.com. Brew your happy place. If you have a little one and you're going to Walt Disney World, you're going to need a stroller. I'll tell you what, KingdomStrollers.com is the place where you want to look into. I'll tell you, I've destroyed my fair share of strollers while at Walt Disney World, and those things are not cheap. But getting something from KingdomStrollers.com, they'll be able to help you pick out the perfect stroller for you. And the nice part is that because they're a Disney preferred provider, they'll be able to drop it off and pick it up right from your Disney resort at no extra charge. So if you don't want to necessarily destroy your stroller in the process and you want to have a great Disney vacation with your little one, contact KingdomStrollers.com and they'll set you right up. That's KingdomStrollers.com.
Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another exciting episode of Behind the Ears podcast. We are back from our 1 week sabbatical. Mr. Chris is back from a surprising, well, maybe surprising to some of you if you live under a rock at this point. Mr. Chris was down there for Toy Story. Mr. Chris, how was sunny Central Florida?
Oh my goodness! I gotta tell you something. I've been home for less than 24 hours, and I gotta tell you, it was a wonderful trip. It was a whirlwind trip. It was a longer trip. It was one of my longer trips that I've done in a long time. It was 9 days. And I have no complaints whatsoever. I only have one complaint, and I'm going to save that for when we actually do a trip report, which will probably be this coming Thursday. It was hotter than hell's backyard. I'll tell you that right now.
You always have the best analogy. I love them.
Here's the thing. When we first got down there, it really wasn't bad because I think it's usually the humidity that kind of gets to us more than anything else. And I was sitting on the balcony of our villa over at Kandani Village, and I was talking to Casey, my daughter's fiance, and I'm like, wow, I was really pleasantly pleased with how everything was going. It was a nice warm summer morning. And it really wasn't all that humid. And we were just sitting back with a beverage, just kind of chilling out before everybody else wakes up. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I know that the other shoe's going to drop. And it really just got so muggy. Yes. But you know what? We were kind of prepared for it. I mean, we knew it was going to be that way. And as I've said before on past shows, knowing and being prepared for things mentally is like the ultimate thing that you can do for this time. But Danny, I got to tell you, it was really good. It was a great trip. And as I said, we're going to go through a little more formal of a trip report in a future show, because I know that everybody and their brother and sister would probably more likely want to talk right now about Toy Story Land, because I was there not just for grand opening day, but I was also there for the soft opening Friday. And I have to give some shout outs first off to a few people, because I got to enjoy the Friday soft opening because of Trisha, one of our admins and great listeners, also because of Chris, who basically confirmed the fact that it was a soft opening for me. And Brian also let me know about it as well. And all these people were like messaging me, dude, get over there now, man, get over there now. And the problem of it is that because of the tickets I was using, I was actually technically blocked out of Hollywood Studios. So I had to do some rearranging of some other tickets that I had. But we got there kind of earlier, I'll say early evening. It was probably more around the lines of, 6 o'clock or so in the evening on Friday. And sure enough, it was open. It was awesome. So, Danny, I know you've been kind of like staying away from articles and pictures and things like that. So I'll just ask if you have any questions first. Just, I don't want to like spoil anything for you too.
How big was Buzz?
Oh, Buzz was large.
Is he huge?
Oh, it was, dude. I've got some awesome night shots of Buzz that as soon as I'm able to upload let's see, I probably have. I filled up two 32 gig cards, and a little bit of a 64-bit card, and it was absolutely awesome. Also, I also want to give a shout out to a few people. First off, I saw Laura there. I got to meet Laura for the first time, which was really cool. It was awesome meeting you, my friend, and also Ryan from TMR Productions and his wife Stacy. Oh gosh, I feel so bad because I think yes, it's Stacy. I'm sorry. For some reason, I just drew a blank. So forgive me, guys. I was horrible. I was wonderful to meet Chris and Shannon, as well as Brian and Ava. She came up to me. She's like, "Excuse me, but are you Mr. Chris?" I'm like, "Yes, I am." And so, and a few other people.
You live for that. I get like, oh,
I was like,
I'm like, no. Who are you looking for?
I also, yeah. I also got to, I ran into Nathan from Paging Mr. Morrow. That was really pretty cool. I ran into John from BigFatPanda.com, and I kind of did a little bit of a unintentional video bomb. When Jen from Streaming to Magic was doing a video over in Epcot, I got to meet a lot of people, and I actually have a whole list on my phone of people that I met. I'm going to give everybody proper props. But it was thanks, Laura, for verifying. I feel so bad. I'm so horrible with names, to be honest with you.
Do you know how many times someone tells me their name? 3 seconds later, I go to say goodbye, and I'm like, I don't remember your name.
I'm okay. I always tell people I'm going to forget your name 3 times, and I just tell them flat off right off the bat. And usually by the 3rd time, I'm pretty much good to go. I am horrible with names. It is not anything personal. I forget everybody's name. It was really pretty bad. As I said, I got to meet up with a lot of different people, and it was absolutely fabulous. Because I mean, if you think about it, when this was a monumental type of thing going on. I mean, to have a new land open, to say it was, to say that it was monumental is actually kind of an understatement, to be honest with you.
Oh, stop it! I get it. All right, I get it. I wasn't there.
I'm not trying to make you feel bad, bro. But I missed having you there. I really did. I really missed having you there, and it would have been more epic to have both of us there, because I think it would have been a trip. But let me tell you a little bit. So I'm very thankful, first and foremost, that I got to do a soft opening. The reason is that I did not have a fast pass for Slinky Dog, and that was obviously going to be the big draw come opening day, and it was. So basically, we got into line just inside the entrance for the Slinky Dog coaster. And cast members were telling us it's going to be about 2 hours and 15-minute wait time. And we're like, okay. I looked at Chris and I looked at Kathy, and I'm like, this is going to be the only time. We all agreed. We're like, let's do it. So it was actually a pretty good, line to be in. It was like, it just winded around everything. And I will say this, I've got to give props to the cast members that were controlling the crowds, because they were doing it with a smile. They were hot. They were, wet because it was a torrential downpour type of day. It was just one of those things where, they really tried to keep the line moving, because, people were like staring at things, right? And all of a sudden you got these big gaps in the lines, and they were really trying to keep the lines moving. Then you got people like me that were taking pictures all the time, and, I'm sure that got annoying to some people as well. So the thing is that the line was, as you go into it, the queue is all open. It's not an enclosed queue. And so along the fencing to Slinky Dog Coaster, they do have a number of umbrellas that pretty much that provide constant shade for guests. And I don't know if they're going to do this all the time, but they did provide water stations every 50 feet or so that you can fill up a water bottle, fill up a cup or something like that really quick with water. And that was really needed. I'll tell you that right now. It was so muggy. Oh my gosh. Think of the attraction as you walk in is done with Tinker toys and a bunch of Andy's drawings, because think of yourself as toy sized in Andy's backyard, and you are in Andy's backyard. If you think of Toy Story Midway Mania as being inside, inside Andy's room, this is Andy's backyard. And it was the attention to detail was fabulous. To walk in there and see, to see Woody right off the bat, you can't help but smile.
I have an interesting thing here,
okay,
because I see a couple people posting on it,
sure.
And I wasn't gonna go into this until I was able to get a full judgment on it. But since we were there, we could do it.
Okay.
From what I've seen full walkthroughs, and very good walkthroughs of both rides. I've done both Pandora rides.
Right.
I think the queues are better in Toy Story Land.
I think you're right.
The rides are not as good. The Slinky Dog ride looks good. It looks gorgeous at night, but it's a simple roller coaster. It doesn't hold a candle to Flight of Passage. And Navi River, it's a re-inspired ride, just like I think the Alien Swirl's a re-inspired ride from Disneyland, which was Mater's ride.
I saw some people post some different things that went along the same lines of your thought process there. I think you're catering to two different types of guest. The interesting part to it is this, and I saw Rudy's comment from his page, and I kind of thought about it, and I think really you have to take a look at the guest grouping that you've got there. Pandora is not going to be necessarily enjoyed by the younger crowd. It's over their head. It's mainly for, the adult movie watcher that really enjoys Pandora or something a lot more complex. Yes, Flight of Passage is an absolutely fabulous attraction. It's still, holding the champion for, how long of a wait can it have throughout the entire day, a sustained wait. And it's holding it, 90 plus minutes consistently. And I'm being on the low side there. Even, Slinky Dog Coaster now is, much more reasonable. But I will say two different clientele, two different guest targets. You and I've talked about before that basically Hollywood Studios needed something for the tween market, even the pre-tween market, something between the ages of 7 and 8 and 13 to 15 type of thing. That
this hits 7 to 8, not 13 to 15. No.
Well, okay, so and I thought about this too. Here's the thing. I don't disagree with your comment. Slinky Coaster, in my opinion, was a heck of a lot of fun. Even for an adult, it was a lot of fun because I think it is like I really like to think that it's much more comfortable than, say, something like Space Mountain, which is, de facto standard for coasters. It's obviously not as fast as Rock and Roller Coaster, obviously. And the theming for it is really solid, much like the theming for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. But it's longer than Seven Dwarfs. It seems to be more thrilling without being super scary. And as I said, it is smooth as butter. It is such an enjoyable coaster to ride. I went on Space Mountain again this past time, and again, I got off that ride in pain.
See, I love the herky jerky part of it. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You talk about Slinky Dog.
Yeah.
Is Slinky Dog a must-do after you've done it once? Like, you can't, I can't physically see going to Disney anymore and not riding Flight of Passage at least once. Okay. Can you go to Disney and not feel bad that you didn't ride Slinky?
Oh gosh, that's a really good question. I think that if I'm going to Hollywood Studios, I am going to really want to ride Slinky Dog Coaster. I mean, but I'm going to put an asterisk on that. If I'm going to Hollywood Studios, I'm going to go do Slinky Dog. I'm going to do Rock and Roller Coaster. I'm going to do Tower of Terror, and I'm going to do Mine Train. Sorry, I thought Mine Train. I'm going to do Toy Story Midway Mania. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah. Those are the ones, and I'm going to do Star Tours. Those are going to be my top 5 things to do at Hollywood Studios. The thing of it is, if you think about it, I just named 80% of the things that are actually still solidly worth going to see in Hollywood Studios. You go to Indiana Jones because it's a cool show, but it's a filler. It's a filler. You don't necessarily do it every single time because it is the exact same show. Excuse me. You go to Muppets because it's funny and it's kind of got a little bit of a cult classic following, especially if you grew up as a Muppet lover, so to speak. But other than that, I mean, until the Mickey and Minnie ride comes into play, along, from taking over from where Great Movie Ride was. I mean, and until Galaxy's Edge opens up, those are the 5 things that you're going to want to do. Yeah, sure, you're going to want to do Fantasmic. I'm not really including that. And of course, I would like to do all the other little things in there as well. But the thing is, all those little things I don't always do. I mean, I don't go and do all those things. We did a lot of them this time because Casey was with us, and so we were trying to give him a good overall experience.
I want to go back and refine the old show of us talking about this because I said from day one, so this alien saucer, whatever. It was Navi River Journey. There was no need for it. It was a waste. To me, it's just a filler. They had spot and they're like, hey, we got to put something here. Let's repurpose something that we have in the back. And that's what I felt like they did. People could say how gorgeous Navi River Ride is. Listen, it's a waste of space. You could have put something way better there. Just like the alien saucers. Slinky, I knew it wasn't going to be Flight of Passage, but I was really hoping it would come close. I have not ridden it. I'm going by what you say. I will say this. It looks like a pretty tame roller coaster. It looks maybe a step up from Barnstormer. Maybe that next level up.
I would definitely say it's a step up above Seven Dwarfs for sure. I mean,
okay.
There are parts of it. Okay, here's the thing. You cannot say that it's you cannot just simply say it's tame just because it's smooth. It has some really steep banks in it. It has some really cool, ups and downs and high bank turns and stuff that really makes it a smooth riding kind of a thrill coaster. If this would have gone 25, 30 miles an hour faster, you would put it in the same category as Rock and Roller Coaster in a sense of just thrill performance. It is a moderate thrill ride. It is moderate for families to do. That's what I'm saying. And it's fabulous for what it is. It's much more comfortable to be in. The launches are nice and smooth, but it still gives you a really nice pushback. I will tell you this, though. I think riding it at night provides a really awesome visual experience.
That's where my point was going. And without riding the ride, just by visual of what I've seen, the nighttime colors were astonishing.
Oh,
I was at my computer and now granted, I'm running a 4K monitor, so I understand I'm getting what's close to the human eye as possible right now. And I was watching it that's wild. Well, that's got to be even better in person. That's wild.
Now here's the thing though. I want to comment on what Trisha just mentioned about Frozen. Frozen is now lost in the hoopla. Oh no, it's not. It's still an easy 45 minutes or an hour wait for that ride. And yeah, I waited in that ride.
You waited to go see what ride?
Frozen.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Frozen show. She was talking about the. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. If she's talking about the Frozen show, then I can. Okay, then I'll have to retract that, but I still think Frozen Ever After as a ride is still very going to be pertinent over at Epcot.
But let's be real, there's nothing to do at Epcot. Well,
let's get into that in a minute. Let me finish this up first. You got to make a very good point there. But here's the thing. So my family as well as Chris and Shannon, we rode it and we're just both like, wow, that was really super awesome. And I got to be honest with you. I'm glad I did it. I'm so glad I did it during soft opening. It was well worth it. And at the same time, it would be one of the rides that I would say I have to do at Hollywood Studios. And I really think I think that if you're going to be a coaster, person, if you're not a coaster person, it may not necessarily be for you. If you like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, you'll most likely like this. But as I said, it's going to give the younger generation a coaster to really get into it. That isn't necessarily, Barnstormer. I mean, Barnstormer is, 55 seconds that is, 30 of those seconds is going up, So yeah. It was one of those things where the theming of it was awesome. The decorations were just beautiful. Once again, I think the Imagineers really hit it out of the park with this one. I do want to make a comment because there were a few people that were also saying, yeah, but my God, why didn't they, create an indoor queue so they could have it air conditioned and because it's you're out in hot and everything else like that. I thought about that and I was thinking to myself, yeah, you're right. But then I said to myself, wait a second. If you created an indoor queue for either of these attractions, you would ruin the visual, the visual stimulation that you would have, so to speak. I mean, the idea that you're there in Andy's backyard, you will lose the idea that you're there. So
is it at least, is there overhang?
Once you get into the main ride itself, yeah. But like anything else, there is a part that is an outdoor queue.
Do they have fans out there?
They do have some fans out there.
Is it any shade like Tower of Terror at least? Or is it out there like Rock and Roller Coaster is?
There is good. Well, even Rock and Roller Coaster is all under shade.
No, not that first, that deep section. That oh my God, it's a 2+ hour wait.
Well, that is. I mean, it's still covered though.
I didn't think that first couple of rows were.
No, it's covered. Probably about I'll call it half. Half the line is covered, and the other half is not. And I think it's going to take a little bit for some of the foliage to kind of grow up to the sides. But they do have some fans, and so on. And again, I have a different way of looking at it because by the time I finally got into the main queue, the sun was already setting.
Okay.
So, I can't say what the Mr. Crisp baking factor is, so to speak. But I can say that, you know, to have it in an enclosed queue would have been problematic. It does kind of wind back and forth. You kind of, you know, get to see the people over and over again. But again, it's very well themed. Now, that was the first night. Afterwards, we just mainly took pictures, a lot of different things. Also, one other thing that we did that my family decided to do, and this was actually before we rode Slinky, is that we had to go to Andy's Lunchbox because, yes, ladies and gentlemen, you know that food had to be involved with this, and lo and behold, it was. There was a line for about 45 minutes to get food.
Did you guys get everything on the menu?
We did not get everything on the menu. Mainly because, dude, we ate so much on this trip. It's not
fair enough.
But we got the tachos. And we got like the grilled cheese. So and I gotta be honest with you, both of them were so good. Oh my gosh. And I didn't get anything to eat that night, really, just because I was talking with different people and so on and so forth. So my family got tachos, and those things are like the ultimate walking around food. Simple as that. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. It was really, really cool. It didn't use mobile ordering because I don't know if it was my phone or something, but everybody was trying to use mobile ordering. It was just a little on the slow side. So, but yeah, it was really, really cool. Actually, we actually waited in line for an hour the next day to get lunch again, and again had tachos. Oh my gosh, they're so good. So it was
same
really,
price as everything else in the park.
Yeah, I mean, very comparable price. I mean, it wasn't, you know, I would probably say reasonable for Disney prices. Okay. I mean, nothing. Some people were actually, some people were kind of complaining about the super stretchy burger that had the Incredibles logo on it and stuff like that over at Cosmic Ray's Starlight Cafe. Was a few bucks extra. You know, nothing fancy that added an extra couple dollars in the price tag.
Yeah, it was just. Did you get the burger while you were there?
We did get the burger there.
Did you?
Yes, we did.
I'm hoping you took some pictures.
I can't remember if I actually I didn't take a lot of pictures of food, to be honest with you, but we did actually get it, and it was good. Anyway,
our Instagram is dying for some new pictures.
Okay, we'll have to figure that out. So the food was really, really good, and but here's the deal. The next day, right before park closing, though, on Friday, we did get to ride Rock and Roller Coaster, and I actually got my son onto Rock and Roller Coaster. That was a feat in of itself. We all did single rider line for it, and it was a blast.
Wait, I thought your son doesn't like that ride.
He doesn't.
And you got him to do single rider line?
Yes.
That's like a double, hurrah right there.
I know.
You got the poor kid to go on, then go on with a stranger.
Oh, I know. He totally deserves props for that. I mean, afterwards, he's like, I don't want to do it again, Dad. I'm like, okay, we'll do it again in a couple of years. No, Dad, you don't understand. I go, trust me, son. You'll want to do it in a couple of years. But here's my son that'll go on a zip line that's a half-mile long, but he didn't like that. I just don't get it.
What didn't he like about it? The sucking speed in the beginning there?
Yeah, he doesn't like the launch.
Ah, okay.
He doesn't have to launch. So, So the next morning, since we already did Slinky Dog Coaster, we knew that I wasn't going to be one of those people that were going to be there at super way early camping out type of things. We didn't have to do that now because I had a fast pass for the Alien Saucer ride. Alien Saucer slide? Alien Saucer slide.
No, it's not slide. Sauce.
I was called the Alien Saucer, right? Anyway, really love and so really love the idea that
swirling saucers.
Swirling saucers. Okay, I gotta remember that. So we had a fast pass for it. Fast pass was at noon. We also had a fast pass for A couple of us had fast passes for Tower of Terror. My wife and my son had a fast pass for Star Tours. So here's the thing. Bus service was a little on the long side. We were also running a little bit late.
Okay.
I basically said, I basically decided to go ahead and catch a minivan. I had a coupon for a Lyft coupon, which, by the way, if you are ever able to do a Lyft coupon, they are able to be applied to minivan service. So I had a minivan service for $15. And I'll get a little bit more into my Uber versus minivan service probably on our Thursday show, because I did do both. So we took a minivan and waited only about 5-6 minutes for our minivan to show up. Had a wonderful driver named Daisy take us, and she kind of looked at us. She goes, "Just to let you know, there might be a little bit of a backup for traffic wise getting into Hollywood Studios." And I said, "Not a problem. That's also part of the reason why I called you." So, like if I'm gonna go ahead and have to wait, I'm gonna go ahead and sit myself in a nice Traverse with some really awesome Disney music playing in the background. Had a wonderful conversation with Daisy. She was a wonderful driver, and so we got in, and to make a long story short, we had a ticketing snafu. And so my wife and I had to go to guest services, and we figured that out. But it also took about 25 minutes out of our morning.
That's not terrible.
Well, the problem of it is that we were already running late for our fast passes. Long story short, we were still able to use our fast passes. We just nicely explained to those at the fast pass, "Hey, I had a ticketing problem. I couldn't get in. I'm sorry. Would you be so kind?" And all of them said, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." So it was really nice. We had a legit reason. We explained it nicely, and they saw that we were 15, 20 minutes late.
That's nothing.
And it's really nothing. So the thing is that, it was nice that the cast members let us enjoy those rides. So noontime came around, and this is the part that gets kind of funny, because there was this long line that at one time went all the way far back to the ABC commissary, and kind of funneled around, kind of along the outline of the Great Movie Ride building, all the way down the side of Pixar Place, inside the Toy Story queue a little bit, down the side of Toy Story, or not Toy Story queue, but the Midway Mania queue, the old queue, and then into the park or into the land. And that's where people said it was a 5 or 6 hour wait to get in, type of thing.
People waited 5 or 6 hours to get in?
To get in and to do Slinky, and as well as the other things. The problem
was that line for Slinky?
That's where I couldn't necessarily 100% verify, because the way they had it looked like it could be, but they were also limiting the number of people in the land itself. Here's the thing. Opening day, I thought was going to be shoulder to shoulder, front to back people, not able to move. They did crowd control so well. They limited the number of people that were in the land itself. I have got to give Disney props, because it could have been horrible, but it was very well done. Now, granted, I say it was very well done. I'm sure that if that was one of those people standing in line for 4 hours or more, I'm sure I probably would have a different viewpoint on it. I'm sure that the people that had VIP tours also had a totally different way of looking at it. In fact, I've seen people say, "Oh, it was an absolute blast. It was totally wonderful. It was zippity-doo-dah day. Yes, we had a VIP tour." Yeah, you paid for that VIP tour. And I was very glad to hear that those particular content creators also said very succinctly, my judgment could be, skewed because we had a VIP tour. I'm glad they said that, because it was definitely something, they paid for that privilege.
So you just walked right into this park. You didn't have to wait on that line?
because I had a fast pass. So as long as you had a fast pass, you were able to go in probably about 15 minutes before your fast pass. And then what they did is they scanned you over by like where the little entrance to the Voyage of the Little Mermaid was. And once you got scanned in with your fast pass, boom, you can just go walking right up. And excuse me for one quick second.
The Voyage of the Little Mermaid is no longer there?
No, it's there. It's just you were just scanned at that point.
Oh, okay.
So you walked over, and then I was able to go to, the alien saucer slide ride. And once I was in, I was in. I didn't have to worry about it. I was told by a couple different cast members, don't leave. You won't be able to get back in. Okay. Fair enough. So that's when we did Aliens, and that was okay. I've done the Mater ride over in California Adventure at Cars Land. This is very similar. It's not identical, obviously. I think the ride vehicle is a little bit bigger. It's a little bit more, poof size friendlier. But yeah, it was still a lot of fun, but it was a minute long. A minute.
That's it?
It was a minute. And I got video of it too. So
60 seconds.
It was just about a minute. I don't know exactly, but it was just, I think my total video time was maybe a minute, 15 seconds, minute, 20 seconds. Let's see. What is the ride height requirement for Slinky Dog Dash? I'm sorry, Scott. I actually didn't quite catch that.
38 inches in height.
Which is actually one of the shorter height requirements. Thank you for looking at that.
32 inches for the alien swirling saucers.
Yeah. I mean, because now if that isn't just a good example of the clientele, the guest clientele that they're really focusing on, I think that really helps go back to the beginning of our conversation.
How are the seats?
For which one? Both?
Both.
I'll be honest with you. I'm a big guy.
So not as bad as Mine Train.
Not as bad as Mine Train. I thought whatever they did to improve it, I felt comfortable. I felt fine without
single lap bar, double lap bar,
double lap bar.
And they fit, huh?
I had zero problems. Now the thing is, I did ride Mine Train twice during this past trip, and I actually had to. It was
cut your legs off.
Well,
right?
You know what it was is that I had to basically put my knees together and then have the lap bar come down and basically come in between my knees, and I couldn't move. But it wasn't uncomfortable, but I felt restricted. I didn't quite feel that same level of restriction over in Slinky Dog. I felt comfortable. It was
this is my hell.
What?
Imagine that ride breaking down.
Yeah, and I can understand that. I can
But
understand that.
What about swirling saucer? Good, plenty of room.
I had no problems. And I really didn't have a problem with that at all. And I didn't have a problem with it with the Mater version over in California Adventure. That was the nice part, is that I think that these rides are sized correctly to be enjoyed with an adult as well as a child in the same ride vehicle without any real A, restrictions, or B, safety concerns. I think I think that makes a big deal. I'll say, because I got to see more of it during the day, it's really cool. It's stunning in a sense of the amount of detail that you walk down the main path and you see this big, gigantic footprint. It's from Andy's shoe.
Oh,
and
that's
see a couple
cool.
of them. I mean, it's those little details, and everything was done like as Andy had the world's biggest Tinker Toy set. I mean, Tinker Toys must have been Andy's favorite toy, and stole some of Mom's Christmas tree lights, because that's kind of what it looks like for the lighting in the area. Buzz Lightyear at night, dude. that's worth it for you.
What did you say? I'm sorry, you cut out for a second.
Buzz Lightyear at night is definitely something you have to see. Buzz Lightyear.
I haven't seen that.
Buzz, I'm going to send some pictures as soon as I upload. Between the popsicle stick benches, which I just like, the paint, how they did the paint and coloring for that is just nuts.
Wow, that's crazy.
No, I mean it was really cool, and I will say that they have basically this. Okay, I don't know if you remember, like on Midway Mania, they had like the little animations for the safety videos. They have very similar videos for everything else, for all the new attractions as well. Very similar characters. I'll be honest with you. They really hit a home run with this place. They really did. It was worth it. And they kept it so that people could enjoy it on opening day. I got a little bit of opening day merch, mainly some pins and stuff like that. I didn't go like hog wild with merch. That's another thing. Neither one of these attractions exit into any kind of like a merch mart, any kind of a gift shop or anything like that.
Okay.
Most of that is going to be found in other places in the park. And, I will also say this for those people who like to collect these Starbucks "You Are Here" or "You Were Here" type mugs within the within the parks and stuff like that. They actually have one with an alien on it now. So like instead of Hollywood Studios being the normal Hollywood Studios one, it includes an alien on one of those mugs as well. So Danny,
I'm gonna go so broke.
Oh, I know. It is so
Carts
cool.
of merchandise. Said it correctly.
Carts for merchandise. And the thing is, there were lines for the carts for merchandise, and I didn't buy a lot of merch. I'll be honest. I did.
That's right.
2 reasons. One, I'm not the kind of person that buys a lot of merch generally, but 2, because we didn't drive down, we had limited luggage space and where we were going to put this stuff.
Yeah.
So it makes a big difference when I can't just, put stuff in the back of the truck.
The struggle's real.
It is a real struggle. As the case may be, we actually had a spare suitcase with us. It's basically just a duffel that we fold into one of the other bags. And we had to pull that puppy out because one of the other bags was filled with, what merch we did get. I didn't get the popcorn bucket, mainly because they ran out of that beforehand. I'll get it. You know what? They're going to bring those popcorn buckets back. I'm not going to be and I'm sure as heckfire not going to be one of the people who's going to spend $250 for a popcorn bucket. Give me a break.
Give it time, man. They all come back. Look at the rose gold stuff and all that. Within a few months, people are gonna be like, okay, like I don't need it anymore. Let's go, and they're gonna bring more out.
Yeah. So I mean, okay. Nancy's saying the alien Starbucks mug was there since before January, though. So it might disappear soon. It might. I don't know. We'll have to take a look. And so. John, I could have bought merch for giveaways.
What type of money you think we bring in here? Who said something I wanted to yell at? Right here. Woody is Andy's favorite toy. Well, Buzz Lightyear is Uncle Danny's favorite toy. And let's be real, Uncle Danny's real, Andy's not. So.
Oh my gosh! And just think, I've actually missed these kinds of conversations. So no, I'm kind of flipping through some of the comments here too, and there are other people who asked me if I got to see Tim Allen there. I did not get to see Tim Allen. Here's the thing.
If I saw Tim Allen.
Oh, I know. And most of those things were done during the media days. As far as I know, there wasn't too much going on, like for the hoopla for opening day. I didn't see anything for it, to be honest with you. Everybody that wanted to already saw things like for, the media stuff. Let's see. Going through some of our other comments here. Did I see any of the Star Wars land being built? I I got a couple quick shots. It seems to be that it's coming along nicely. I actually saw I actually saw more of it like during one of the bus rides than anything else. It really wasn't pretty bad. Samara wants me to tell you about the restroom at Toy Story Land. One of the most colorful restrooms in the world. It's a very, very photogenic bathroom. I'll tell you that right now.
It's so funny you say that. I got a text message from Nick and Jess that said Behind the Flush needs to get in there and write their review about it.
I think you have to. I think you actually have to. And the thing is, even with all the people, it was very clean. So, I just think that I didn't see Tom Hanks show up for the opening. I didn't see any reports. It was mainly Tim. Oh, I think if I'm not mistaken, Tom is actually on location filming another film of some sort. So let's see.
Toy Story 4?
Yeah. Well, this I don't know if it's that, Bo. I don't know if it is that though. The straw light posts were actually really cool. I thought that was actually really well done. Let's see. Did you all know that put lap bars in Splash Mountain? Yeah, they actually put lap bars in Splash Mountain several years ago, and I hate that. I really did. It just makes that ride so much more cramped. Even by myself, it was still cramped as all get out. Let's see. I'm kind of going through here. But yeah, I mean, they're really keeping it. They're really keeping it real. And I'm not going to say this as a negative, just because it doesn't necessarily have wait times as long as Pandora, I don't think necessarily is indicative of whether or not it's a fail, so to speak, or something like that. I just think that it's I don't know how they're controlling it, but they're controlling it really well. So we'll have to see how that works. Let's see. I'm just flipping through this really quick. Yeah, Bailey, thanks for mentioning that. John Ratzenberger was there too, and you geeked out over him. I didn't see him either. I did actually, to tell you the truth, Tim Allen was the only one that actually got any real I'll say airtime from a lot of different people, but we'll have to see how that goes. Let's see.
Did you happen to catch they reopened the store in Disney Springs?
Dude, it opened Monday, and it was when we were leaving. We spent all day at Magic Kingdom on Monday, and it was like great. I went in there sometime last week, and it was horrible. It reminded me of a pop-up store, the way that they had the walls kind of cornered off, and it was like a third of the size. So it was kind of a bummer that, it was kind of a bummer that we didn't really get to see the new stuff.
Looks gorgeous.
Oh, I haven't looked at it. I kind of stayed off of social media today. I've been really tired. I didn't get home until like 1:30 this morning, and I got up at 1:30 this morning, and I got woken up at like 6:45 from a particular airline about something that I'm going to talk about on Thursday. So, here's the deal. It's worth it. It's worth going out there to see it. I think they've really nailed it for their target demographic. It is a lot of fun. It's very colorful. It's bright. It pops. I think the only thing that I think is kind of a bummer is they kind of did a little bit of a tiering system once again. I think until Galaxy Edge is opened up, it is going to be the reason why people go to Hollywood Studios. I really believe that.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Listen, it needed something, man. It needed something. But all right, well, you got anything else for us on Toy Story Land?
Well, the only thing I gotta say is it's going to be the new really hard to get fast passes, and I know that people are gonna be like, I made a trip especially to go see Toy Story Land, and I couldn't get fast passes. My vacation's ruined. Well, I think I waited an hour and 15 minutes for Slinky Dog, and I'd wait an hour and a half at the most. If you had no other choice, I think it was well worth an hour and a half. And if you're like me and you talk with people around you and stuff like that, you can have an entertaining hour and a half. I ran it a couple listeners. They're in the line, which was really kind of cool. Tossed out some buttons. It was awesome. So it was one of those things. It was a good time. Time went by really fast. I can't wait to download my pictures just so I can take a look to see what it's like. Again, I'll be posting a lot of that over in the community page, and also probably post them up over on some of our, over on Instagram. But seriously, we may not have been there for, to see it before everybody else, but we still got good representation there. And it was, again, I've got more to tell, not just about Toy Story Land, but about the trip itself. After all, I was there for 9 days, stayed at 2 different resorts, flew down this time instead of drive, brought a newbie to Disney, ate a lot of food, and boy, do I mean a lot of food. And all I have to say is this: grapefruit beer, Germany. Oh my gosh, it was fabulous. So that's kind of just a little bit of a thing. For those who watch us live, I will be most likely looking through some of your comments. If I didn't get to your comment tonight, I'll look through some of those and answer probably tomorrow. For those of you who listen via our podcast, again, if you have any other questions that you'd like to ask in regards to Toy Story Land and my experiences there, just drop me a line over at the Behind the Ears Podcast Facebook page, or at Behind the Ears Podcast at gmail.com. But yeah, it was a great time, man. Great time. I can't wait to talk about the rest of the trip on Thursday, because there's a lot more to be said.
Take us away, Mr. Chris.
You got it. You heard the show, and we hope you want more. Well, feel free to join us over at our social media platforms. Instagram and our Facebook page can be found at Behind the Ears Podcast. Our webpage is behindtheearspodcast.net, and our email is behindtheearspodcast@gmail.com. And our Twitter handle is @BehindTheEarsPC. And come and join the conversation about all things Disney over at the WDW community page. Don't forget to rate and review the show over at iTunes or Apple Podcasts, as it really helps us get the word out about the show. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the show on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or the Podbean app. Also, you can listen to us on Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, and via Alexa and Google Home.
With that being said, everybody, thank you for tuning in to another fantastic episode of Behind the Ears Podcast. We just did a trip report of Toy Story Land opening with the one and only Mr. Chris. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. Tune in Thursday. Oh, my voice cracked there. Tune in Thursday to hear a more than likely, we're probably not going to get through the whole thing, so we'll probably have to keep letting it go, and we'll keep getting more and more. But we're going to get as much as we can done for Mr. Chris's trip report. It was 9 days, so bring your questions, and I'm sure he'll be able to answer as many as he can. With that being said, everybody, we hope you all have a safe and wonderful July 4th. Don't forget to pay homage to those people who lost their lives to protect our freedom. And let's be serious for a moment. Learn how to shoot off fireworks. We don't need accidents. I am Uncle Danny. I've got all my fingers until tomorrow. Have a good one.
And I'm one tired Mr. Chris, but I'm so glad that I'm back in the studios. And hey, listen, thanks again, everybody, for joining us tonight. I can't wait to tell you more, and I hope you tune on Thursday. Don't forget to share us out to all your friends. It's going to be great. But until we meet again, I hope you have an absolutely magical day. Take care.